What's up, Taiwan? Good morning. I'm Ethan Liu with 10 minutes of news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Starting off with some Olympic action, skier Li Wenyi has made history for Taiwan at the Beijing Games. Li is Taiwan's first female alpine skier to make it to the Winter Olympics. On Wednesday, she competed in the women's slalom run, finishing last in 50th place. But at least she managed to complete the course, while 38 other competitors failed to finish. In her first attempt, Li missed the skate and had to go back uphill to hit it to complete her run. Also at the Winter Olympics, a medal-winning Russian figure skater is making headlines again, but this time for the wrong reason. 15-year-old Kamila Valieva captured the world's attention with her spectacular performance last week. She was the first athlete to land back-to-back quadruple jumps at the Winter Olympics. But now her entire figure skating team's gold medals are at risk. A sample taken before Valieva's arrival in Beijing registered as positive for a banned substance. Russian media is reporting that the drug was identified as a medicine used to treat chest pain. However, the drug is barred by the World Anti-Doping Agency as a stimulant. Two U.S.-born female athletes competing under the China flag at the Beijing Games have been the source of heated debate in both countries with starkly contrasting fates. One of the women, Eileen Gu, has been lauded in China after claiming gold in the women's free ski big air event. But many in the U.S. have lashed out at her decision to represent her mother's country instead of the United States. Meanwhile, Beverly Zhu has been criticized on Chinese social media after she fell in the team skating competition. Our reporter Bing Wang spoke to Stanley Tongaraj, professor of race and sports at City College of New York, to find out why the international responses to Gu and Zhu have been so different.
You know, the local response in the U.S. has really focused on talking about, why can't they be committed to the U.S.? Why can't they play for the U.S.? Especially these two athletes, Yi and Gu, are understood as almost like traitors. Gu has very much shown with her Twitter following and the various endorsement of brands and the incredible global appeal she has. Her mixed race heritage is also what a lot of nations around the world are doing to showcase how cosmopolitan they are, provides incredible traction for China to completely dismiss, if they choose to, any claims of racism. And they have very serious human rights issues, various forms of authoritarianism that limit protest.
Especially with these very intense times between the U.S. and China, has that had any effects with how these athletes are portrayed?
Because one of the things we have to account for is how geopolitical conditions outside of sport always inform sport and the politics within sport. Why do we not have the same criticism of those that represent the U.S. to say, how can you represent the U.S. during this time of such anti-Black racism, anti-Asian racism, an attack on the poor, caging of children on the U.S.-Mexico border, the increased presence of the U.S. and continued wars in the Middle East, and also to talk about a complex identity that is built across nations, that choosing one nation over the other is not a choice to choose, to be against human rights, to be against civil rights, but rather it might mean something very different individually and personally, right? To always imagine the affiliation with China through the larger political realm also doesn't get at the various types of personal connections, the pleasures, the joys of choosing to play for China that might attend to one's own family history.
On now to COVID-19. Several U.S. states have announced they will remove indoor mask mandates to reduce restrictions on daily life. This follows similar decisions in European countries where, despite stubbornly high case numbers, vaccination rates are keeping hospital admissions down. But as James Chater reports, some think it's too early to ease restrictions.
Suited, booted, and of course, masked. But these images from the US state of Rhode Island could soon be a thing of the past. Rhode Island is one of several mostly Democrat-led states that have announced plans to remove indoor mask mandates in the coming weeks, including Massachusetts, California, and New York. The decisions come as politicians seek to normalize coexistence with COVID.
We are relieved to now be in a place where we can provide young people additional relief from COVID-19 restrictions so they can continue to move towards normalcy in the classroom.
But not everyone is happy with the speed of the relaxation. Officials in Los Angeles County say they'll keep the indoor mask mandate, even as other areas in the state ease restrictions. And despite official pronouncements, nationwide public debate over the masks continue.
I just think a mask is a very easy thing to do. It's very easy to put on. I understand that, it can be uncomfortable for some people, but I just think it's such an easy thing to do to keep people safer.
In New York, no relaxation of mandates in schools, but mask wearing in all other indoor facilities will be optional from Thursday. But signs state officials might be moving ahead of federal guidance.
What I will say, though, is, our hospitalizations are still high. Our death rates are still high. So as we work towards that and as we are encouraged by the current trends, we are not there yet.
It's not just in the US that bolder steps towards coexistence with COVID are being taken. On Wednesday in London, where mask mandates have already been lifted, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson told MPs that the relaxation in England was going one step further.
Provided the current encouraging trends in the data continue, it is my expectation that we will be able to end the last domestic restrictions, including the legal requirement to self-isolate if you test positive, a full month early.
Johnson's statement comes as the Czech Republic announced it would be lifting all restrictions at the beginning of March. Denmark lifted all restrictions last week, the first EU country to do so. The removal of restrictions is welcome news to most, but some people still aren't quite ready to consign this most recognizable symbol of the pandemic to history. Damon Lin and James Chater for TaiwanPlus.
Kaohsiung residents got a treat on Wednesday night. Some 1,500 drones illuminated the skies above the Kaohsiung Music Center in southern Taiwan as part of celebrations for this year's Lantern Festival. Our reporter Pinchi Zhang takes us to the light show.
A tiger head rises up to 175 meters above the Love River Bay in southern Taiwan's Kaohsiung City. It's just one of the impressive displays lighting up the skies in the southern port city for the Lantern Festival. The drone performance is the biggest of its kind yet seen in Taiwan. It has taken a local stage design company working with international teams half a year to put the show together. The spectacle features a rotating Earth 130 meters in diameter, bigger by a third than the one showcased at the opening of the Tokyo Olympics last year. The displays also includes dynamic 3D animations with distinctive symbols of Taiwan and Taiwanese culture, folktales, the national flag, microchip technology, ocean culture, and the nation's top badminton player, world number 1 戴资颖。
1500台无人机的展演在国内是首次，对我的视觉影响是最台湾更国际的。
The city government is planning another 4 drone shows this month to celebrate Lantern Festival, which marks the close of the Lunar New Year period. Rick Yi and Pichu Zhang for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. I'm Ethan Liu. Finally, ahead of the Super Bowl next week, we'll give you a peek at the preparations for the Puppy Bowl, featuring a record 103 puppies this year. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. See you next time and take care.